3.3, sine and cosine function values. All right, so my Native American princess, who was she again? Sokotoa. And so what does sine deal with? Sine deals with what? The opposite over the hypotenuse. And so when we're talking about an ordered pair, this would be my y, this would be my x. And so the sine of it would be what? The y over the r. R. Okay, it's the hypotenuse. It's the opposite over the hypotenuse, right? And so sine of theta is equal to this y over r. However, if I were to solve for y, what would I multiply by? R. And so y is equal to r sine theta. See how that worked? All right. And then cosine was the adjacent over the hypotenuse, right? And so my adjacent would be what? X over the r. And so if I solve for x, what would it be? X is equal to what? R cosine theta. All right. And so that's how we're going to work with those. All right. Miranda's going to read example 1. Here we go.
Example 1. The figure approaches a circle of radius 4 along with the equilateral triangle EQL. Which of the following gives the coordinates of point Q?
Of point Q. All right. And so point Q is right here. All right. And so when we're trying to figure this out, we need to know the angle measures. And so what is an equilateral triangle? All sides are the same, right? And so if all sides are the same, also we know the what? The angles are the same. And so all the angles are the same there. And so if I kind of draw these like this, all right, if I draw those like that, and so all of these angles would be congruent. They'd have the same measure to them, all right? And so all of those are kind of like a 60-degree almost, all right, if I were in degree mode. However, I'm not in degree mode. I'm in radian mode. And so again, in radians, let's briefly review. This is 0. And then if I go all the way around, it's what? 2 pi, right? And so if I go halfway around, it'd be how much? 1 pi, right? And so if I had to split it up into 3, this p would be what? Pi over 3. And then this q would be what? 2 pi over 3. And so that would be its angle measure for angle Q, would be at 2 pi over 3. And again, to solve for our side of solve for our coordinates, it's r cosine theta for my x, and then it's r sine theta for my y. And so on this one, my r, it says, is what? 4. And so we'd have 4 cosine of what angle measure was Q? We just kind of talked about it. 2 pi over 3. And then for my x value, all right, or for my y value now, it would be my radius of 4 again, and then the sine of, what is the angle measure again? 2 pi over 3. And so which one does that match up with? C. All right.
The figure above shows a circle of radius r along with the line y equals negative x. The circle and the line y equals negative x intersect at the points r, o, and p. If the coordinates of point P are 6 root 2 minus 6 root 2, what is the value of r?
All right. And so we have these as our sides. Well, what kind of triangle did it just make? A right triangle. And so I have two sides. I have my legs of the right triangle. So how do I solve for r, my hypotenuse? What do I use? A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared with that crazy Greek dude Pythagoras. All right. And so now we have 6 square root 2 quantity squared plus negative 6 square root 2 quantity squared is equal to r squared. All right. So let's do a little bit of math. So 6 squared is what? 36. Square root 2 squared is what? 2. So we multiply those together, and what do we get? 72. And then what's negative square root 2 quantity squared? Again, that's what? 36 times 2, which is 72, is equal to r squared. And so then we add them together, and what do we get? 144 is equal to r squared. So how do we solve for r? We square root it. Technically, we have plus or minus going on. However, why does it not make sense to have r equals 12 and negative 12? Because I can't have a negative distance. All right? And so r is equal to 12 in that case. All right? All right. And so now the bulk of our lesson today is going to be on this unit circle. All right? And so let's talk about our axes again. And so we start out at 0, and it goes all the way back to what? 2 pi. And then halfway around is what? Pi. And then a quarter of the way around is pi over 2. And then in between pi and 2 pi is how much? 3 pi over 2. All right? And so we have to know our axes when we're dealing with this. All right, so let's start evaluating. What does cosine deal with? Cosine deals with x. All right? And so if I have my angle measure of 0, I need to do the cosine of 0. And so cosine deals with x. And so at 0, my angle measure of 0, what is the x value at 0? It's 1. Okay, because it moved to the right. All right, let's do it again. So cosine of pi over 2. I'm going to go down the column. All right, so cosine of pi over 2. So cosine deals with what again? X. Well, pi over 2 is up there. And so did it move left or right? No. And so cosine of pi over 2 is 0. All right, let's do it again. So cosine of pi. Well, which way did it move on this one? It moved left. And so it went to what? Negative 1. And then 3 pi over 2. So at 3 pi over 2, did I move left or right here? No. So what's the cosine of 3 pi over 2? 0. All right, let's do sine now. So sine deals with what? Y. All right. So at my measure of 0, what was the sine of it? 0. Because did I move up or down? No. And so my sine is 0. All right, sine of pi over 2. So sine again deals with y. And so at pi over 2, it's up here. And so did I move up or down? Yes, I moved which way? Up. How much? 1, because it's a unit. All right, let's do it again. So sine of pi. So pi is over there. Did it move up or down? No. So sine of pi is 0. All right, let's do it again. So now I have sine of 3 pi over 2. So which way did I move? Down. So what do I get? Negative 1. All right, so on my unit circle, I either have pi over 6s, I have pi over 4s, I have pi over 3s, I have and then like our axes that we just talked about. Yes? So those are what we have going on. Where are all the pi over 6s located? Near the x-axis. So guess what's bigger on the coordinates? If it's close to the x-axis, guess which one's bigger on the coordinates? Is it the x value or the y value? It's the x value because it's close to the x-axis. All right? And then on pi over 4s, guess where they're located? They're in the middle. So they're going to be the same. All right? And then pi over 3s, guess where they're located? Near the y-axis. So guess what on the coordinates are going to be bigger? The y. All right? And so all the coordinates are either going to be 1/2, kind of square root 1 over 2, but we don't usually use the square root 1, and square root 2 over 2, and square root 3 over 2. All right? And so all of them are going to have those coordinates. And so if this first one is a pi over 6 is located where? Near the x-axis. And so which one is the biggest?
3/2.
The square root 3 over 2. And so guess what? The x value at pi over 6s is a square root 3 over 2 because it's close to the what axis? The x. And so the y value is going to be 1/2 because the y is the smallest of them at pi over 6s. All right? Now, it has to do with things positive or negative and so forth, and we're going to talk about that as we go on, but that's kind of the basis of these. All right, let's move. So let's look at this first one. So we have pi over 6, which we just talked about. All right. And so both of those are positive coordinates. Why are they both positive coordinates? Because x went to the right and then y went up. in that first quadrant. So what would Q be? If it's a pi over 6, what would Q be? Okay, yes, but let's go angle measure first. 5 pi over 6. Okay, remember how they go? They go 1 and then what? 5 and then 7, 11, right? All right, so Q is 5 pi over 6 for my angle measure. Now, for my coordinates, it's a what kind? What's my x value? Negative. And so now I have a negative square root 3 over 2, and then I have a positive 1/2. Why is that one positive? The y still went up, okay? The x moved left, that's why it's negative. Why is the x one bigger? Because it's closest to the x-axis. That's why it's bigger. All right, let's do it again. And so r, what's my angle measure for r? 7 pi over 6. All right. Now, my coordinates for that one, what would my coordinates be? Negative square root 3 over 2 and a what? Negative 1/2. Why are they both negative on this one? Because it moved left and down. All right, let's do S now. So S, what's its angle measure? 11 pi over 6. All right, and so which way did that one move? It moved right, so my x coordinate is square root 3 over 2, positive square root 3 over 2, and my y coordinate would be what? Negative 1/2. All right, pretty good. Cool. Let's talk about pi over 4s now. Where are all the pi over 4s located? In the middle. So wouldn't that make sense that the x and the y values of my coordinates are the samesies? Because they're in the middle. So let's talk about p. So p, we got pi over 4 because we're in the first quadrant. Both of my coordinates are positive. Now, on q, what is that coordinate? Or what's my angle measure first? I'm sorry. 3 pi over 4. Okay, remember all the pi over 4s? They're all what? They're all odd. So again, p is what? Pi over 4. Then q would be 3 pi over 4. R would be 5 pi over 4. And S would be 7 pi over 4. Let's just fill it in there, I guess, for now. All right, we'll do the coordinates in a second. All right, so my coordinates on q. Which way did it move? Left and up. And so my x would be what? Negative square root 2 over 2. And my y would be what? Positive square root 2 over 2. Why are they square root 2s over 2s? Because they're located where? In the middle. All right? And so that one went left and up. Now, when we talk about r is 5 pi over 4. And so which way did that move? Left and down. So what are my coordinates on that one? Negative square root 2 over 2 and negative square root 2 over 2. All right, 7 pi over 4. So 7 pi over 4 is in the fourth quadrant. And so which way did that move? Right and up. So as I move right, what do I have? Positive square root 2 over 2. And then when I move down, we'd have what? Negative square root 2 over 2. All right, so we're going to talk about pi over 3s now. So where are all the pi over 3s located? Near the y-axis. So guess which coordinate's going to be bigger? The y. All right, and so here we go. And so my x is going to be my littlest one, and my y is going to be my biggest one. Let's talk about what angle measures they are first. So q would be at pi over, or which pi? 2 pi over 3. And then I kind of think of that guy as 3 pi over 3, and so then r would be what? 4 pi over 3. And then s would be what? 5 pi over 3. So we have to know where they are to deal with the other stuff. And so for my coordinates for 2 pi over 3, which way did it move? Left and up. And so which one's going to be bigger, the x or the y? The y. So my x is what? Negative 1/2 because it moved left. And then my y would be what? Positive square root 3 over 2 because it moves up. All right, let's do 4 pi over 3 now. And so 4 pi over 3 is in the third quadrant. So which way did that move?
Left and down.
Left and down. All right. And so it's close to, pi's over 3s are close to the what axis? The y. And so let's go y first. What's my y value? Negative square root 3 over 2. Why is that one bigger again? Good. All right. And so then my x value would be what? negative 1/2 because I moved left. All right, let's go 5 pi over 3 now. And so 5 pi over 3 is in quadrant 4, and so which way am I moving now? Moving right and down. So which one's going to be bigger again? The y, because pi over 3s are close to the y-axis. So now I have 1/2 comma, negative square root 3 over 2. All right, so here's our unit circle, and so we know where things move. All right, let's put it into practice now. I honestly don't want you to look at it, okay? I honestly don't want you to look at it. I want you to start thinking about it, all right? If you have to look at it, by all means, but we're going to start getting this thing in our head, all right? So let's break it down. So the first one we have is sine of 2 pi over 3. The first thing we need to do is figure out where 2 pi over 3 is. Where is 2 pi over 3? In what quadrant? The second quadrant. And it's next to the what? The y-axis. Well, sine deals with what? The y. All right, sine deals with y. Cosine deals with what? X. All right, tangent is what? Y over x. Those are the three things I need you to think of right now. All right, and so 2 pi over 3 is in the second quadrant, and sine deals with y. And so, what's it going to be? Square root 3 over 2. Why is it the biggest one? Because it's close to the y-axis. Beautiful. All right, let's do it again. 7 pi over 4. I'm going down, by the way. So 7 pi over 4. What quadrant is that guy in? The fourth quadrant. And so sine deals with what? Y. Well, pi's over 4s are in the middle, and it went which way? Down. All right, the right part we don't really care about too much, but yeah, we do a little bit. All right, but I'm really talking about the down part because I'm dealing with the y. And so, how far down did it go? Negative square root 2 over 2. All right, let's do the next one. So now I'm talking about cosine of pi. And so, this is an axis. Cosine deals with what? X. So which way did this move? Left, the other right. So we're going left, and so this one would be what? Negative 1. Let's do the next one. So 5 pi over 3, where are we at? We're in the fourth quadrant. So cosine of 5 pi over 3 is in the fourth quadrant. All right? And so cosine deals with what value? The x. Is it going to be the big or the little one on this one? Cosine deals with x. Which one's it going to be? The little one. All right? Because what's going to be the biggest one on a pi over 3? The y. All right, and so this one's going to be what? 1/2. So cosine of 5 pi over 4. So where's 5 pi over 4? What quadrant? The third quadrant. And cosine deals with what? The x. And of pi over 4, they're all the samesies, but I moved which way? Left. And so now I have what? Negative square root 2 over 2. All right. All right, this next one. 4 pi over 3. Well, what quadrant am I in? I'm in the third quadrant again. And cosine deals with what? The x. So what is my x on that one? Negative 1/2. All right. Why is it the small one? Because it's closest to the what? The y-axis. All right. All right, so 3 pi over 2, where's it at? It's on an axis, right? And so sine deals with y, so which way did the y move? Down. And so what do we got? Negative 1. So sine of 0. So sine deals with y again. This is on an axis. Did I move up or down? No. So what do I got? 0. Love it. 11 pi over 6. What quadrant am I in? The fourth quadrant. What's it closest to? The x-axis, right? And so cosine deals with what? The x-axis. So is that the big or the small one? Bigger one. So what do we get? Square root 3 over 2. Why is it positive? Because it moved to the right. This is beautiful. All right, 7 pi over 6. Where's 7 pi over 6 located? In the third quadrant. And so sine deals with what? The y value. So what is it? Negative 1/2. Why is it the smaller one? It's closest to the x-axis. So the y is the smaller one. Beautiful. All right, so cosine of 2 pi over 3. Where's 2 pi over 3 at?
On the
Second quadrant. It's close to the what axis? The y-axis. And so which way did I move? Left how much? Negative 1/2. Beautiful. All right, and then cosine of pi over 2. Pi over 2 is an axis. So cosine deals with what?
X.
The x. Did I move left or right? No. So what am I at? 0.